Understanding page setup. We are going to quickly look at page setup. Now the best way to look at this is simply to start a brand new document. So come up here and I'll choose New Document. Well, to create a new document, dialog comes up, and of course all the parameters we can see here will affect the size of our page. As you see, I can change from my default to alternate page size. If I want, I can manually type the size. I can choose a primary color mode. Just quickly on that, if you are sending your design to a professional printer, you will most likely want to work in CMYK mode, and usually your local inkjet printer does a good job of CMYK as well. If you know you need an RGB output, which will be something like a wide format printer, or you might have a specific printer that simply works pedagogy bait, you would choose the RGB color mode. But for most things you will work with, CMYK will be what you choose. The rendering resolution will affect things like drop shadows and things that a Corel makes for you on the fly when you begin to work with the fax. It will work with this resolution of 300 dpi. Anyway, I will simply click OK to that. Create a new document, and what I want you to see is that when you have no objects selected, so I might have some text and some squeeze also things on it. If I don't have any of those selected, the standard property bar generally displays all of the informational parameters about a page setup. Again, there's a page size. We could choose alternative page size, manually type in the size, go from portrait to landscape if we want to, and so on. This next one is quite interesting. We have got old pages versus current page. What this means is, if I go and I click the plastic to create a new page, the new page will be identical as the page that I am working on. Or if you like, then I will set that another way. If I make a change here, say type in 250 wide, you will notice that every page is 250 wide. However, if I choose this button current and then I make this a 300 wide, what happens is only the page I am working on has been affected. Can you see that? So that allows you to change the page that I am working on without affecting everything else. That's pretty important to remember. Well, I was quickly going to delete this page and delete this page. Let's just go back to a standard A4 size. Moving along, you can change the units you are working on your page right down to working in miles, or if you like parameters, maybe a town planner might use such large measurements. I would discuss with you the other parameters in some future lessons. Now let's delve down a little deeper. If we want to actually change some more parameters about page, we can come up to Layout and go to Page Setup, or what's easier, because it is always more than one way, is double-click the drop shadow around the edge of the page, so double-click. And as you can see, that brings up my options, starting with page size. So we have very much got all the same parameters we have got across the top, plus a few others. This one is interesting. Add a page frame, so if I click OK. Can you see that? Automatically, I've got a rectangle that's the identical size of my page, and that can be quite handy. Just delete that, double-click again. Moving then, we can change a rendering resolution. We can also insert a bleed area site. If I require a 5 mil bleed area, turn that on, click OK, see the dotted line along the outside. We will talk more about the bleed area down the track, but for right now, for those of you who know, that means that's very, very handy. So just turn that off. Okay, let's move down to the next one, Layout. And on the Layout, you can choose from some varying options of full page, a book, as you can see, A10, and so on. But for right now, let's just stay with full page, and I want to demonstrate facing pages. If you are going to create a magazine or multi-page brochure, this would be a great way to do it. Stop on the right or the left side, or start with the right, and I will show you why. Click OK. Now notice the page's thoughts. See the 0 there starts on the right side of the center of my working area. And if I add a page, you will notice the page comes to the left of center at another page. And now can you see what's going? Now if I add another page, see then left and then right, so what's happening? Let's get back to the beginning. So this page 1. Now we turn the page over, go to page 2, page 3, forget about page 4. The pages being turned over, I am saying page 4 and 5 and so on. So that's a great way to do a magazine stall on multi-page brochure layout. So I will just turn off facing pages. Under labels, that's the subject we are going to cover. Light around, so I won't talk about that now. Under background, however, this is a great place to create a permanent background for your design, whatever it is you might be doing. For example, if I click brown, see if I could go and find a particular photograph I have, and every page could have that photographic background. Or I might choose a solid color. For example, you might be creating a brochure, and that brochure basically is a very light you are going to print onto light yellow paper, and noticing every page here has the bright yellow page papers, as you can see. Now remember, I turned off multiple facing pages. That's why it's one page being displayed at the time now. Here is the thing. So I do my design, I light up on the yellow background, and if I get back in here, I can choose based here whether I'm going to print that background or without printing it, really what I am doing, some just seeing what that print is going to look like on yellow colored paper. That can be really handy, particularly, you don't spend a lot of money, so you are using colored paper to help create the effect that you are looking for. If you want to print, just make sure Better Option is turned on, and finally, the one that you mostly work with, not a background in all. So click OK, and that's all you look for page setup, and that's probably enough. So go ahead and try to bring your document. Play around with some of this. I recommend that you actually try and put an image in the background, create some facing pages and so on, and we'll move on to the next lesson.